Today we're taking a look at these NHL matches, which are happening on Friday, April 28, 2023, and giving you our team and total picks for today. Welcome back to High Stakes. Before we dive into our video, don't forget to subscribe and to push the notification bell so you don't miss any of our videos. Also check out our Patreon if you want access to our premium picks. Our Patreon is a way for us to help you improve your chances of making more money, and if you are interested in props and parlay picks, check out our new channel High Stakes Props and Parlays, where you can find our player props and parlay picks predictions. You will find the link to our Patreon and to our new channel in the description and comment section below. Carolina Hurricanes vs Islanders. New York was a plus 145 underdog in Game 5, but they pulled off the upset and avoided elimination. The Islanders won Game 5 3-2. Brock Nelson and Pierre Engvall each scored a goal and had an assist. Ilya Sorokin was sharp in the win, stopping 34 out of 36 shots faced. The offense was below average for the Islanders this season. New York ranked 22nd in goals per game and 19th in shots per game. Brock Nelson led the team with 75 points. Matthew Barzal had 51 points and Anders Lee had 50 points. The offense got off to a slow start in Game 1, scoring just one goal. They bounced back somewhat and scored 3 goals in a Game 2 loss, but they scored 5 goals in a Game 3 victory. The offense struggled in a critical Game 4, scoring just 2 goals. In Game 5, the Islanders scored 3 goals and avoided elimination. Carolina failed to eliminate the Islanders in 5 games at home on Tuesday night. The series now heads back to New York for Game 6 of the series, with the Canes leading 3-2. New York's offense has struggled this series. They scored 3 or fewer goals in 4 out of the 5 games in this series. Carolina has been excellent at keeping the puck out of the net all season. New York was able to avoid elimination in Game 5, but it will be difficult for them to win 2 in a row against a better Carolina team. The Hurricanes will win Game 6 and eliminate the Islanders on their home ice. Take Carolina on the money line. While the over has hit in 3 out of 5 games this playoff series, each game has seen a team score 3 or fewer goals. Both teams have been excellent at keeping the puck out of the net all season. Game 6 will be a tough battle with both teams looking to play good defense. This game will be a lower scoring game, similar to Games 1 and 5 of the series. Expect both goalies to step up and both teams' defense to play well in Game 6. The under will hit in this contest. Take the under, 6 goals. Boston Bruins vs Florida Panthers. The Boston Bruins had a historic year, setting NHL league records for the most wins and most points in a single season this year, as they dominated the regular season, with the President's Trophy locked up early, as they ended the greatest regular season in NHL history with an impressive 65-12-5 record. The Bees were just the 4th team in league history to get to 60 wins in a year. Despite not having anything to play for late in the season, they come into the playoffs on an 8-game winning streak with a 15-1 record in their last 16 games. With the regular season this veteran-led team has had, any finish to the year without them lifting the Stanley Cup will be a disappointment. There's just some Boston magic to this team this season, and this has felt all year that they'll lift Lord Stanley and Captain Patrice Bergeron's likely last ride. The Bruins are the best defensive team in the NHL by a significant margin. They've allowed the fewest goals in the NHL, an average of just 2.12 goals per game, on an average of 29.8 shots allowed per game. They've given up the 7th fewest expected goals, 2.9 per game, and the 11th fewest high-danger shots. The Bees have the best penalty kill in the league at 87.3%. The Vezina favorite, Linus Ullmark, is projected to start in goal in Game 1. This season he led the NHL with a 46-1 record, a 1.89 GA, a .938 save percentage, and 2 shutouts. He tied the team record for wins on a season, was the fastest goalie in NHL history to 40 victories, tied the Bruins record for save percentage, and had the lowest GA for a Bruin since 1937-38. His backup is almost just as good as Jeremy Swayman has been statistically the 3rd best goalie in the NHL this season, with a 24-6-4 record, a 2.27 GA, a .920 save percentage, and 4 shutouts. The only potential issue with the goaltending will be a lack of experience in the playoffs for both of these guys. After the first 2 games of this series, the Bruins have been by far the better team in this series, dominating the last 3 games, despite losing Game 5, which they likely should have finished this series in, as they put 47 shots on the Panthers. They have an advantage on both ends of the ice, especially defensively. They've had the 2nd best defense in the NHL, while the Panthers have scored the 6th most goals in the league. The Bruins are the best defensive team in the NHL by a significant margin, having allowed the fewest goals in the NHL. They've given up the 7th fewest expected goals and the 11th fewest high-danger shots. Meanwhile, the Panthers have struggled on the back end, allowing the 12th most goals in the NHL. They've given up the 8th most expected goals and the 3rd most high danger shots. I expect the Bruins to finish this series on the road tonight. Not only do I think they're up by a decent margin in the 3rd period, with it being an elimination game for Florida, I expect to see an empty net early on the Panthers' end of the ice, which should lead to a free goal or two for the Bees to hit the puck line and win by multiple goals. Take the Bruins to cover the puck line as they close out this series. 4 of the 5 games in this series have hit the over, and especially with elimination scenario in play tonight for Florida, whom I expect to be trailing in the 3rd period and having their net empty early, I love the over tonight. Along with that, all 4 regular season games between these teams hit the over with 2 top-tier offenses facing off. The Bruins have scored the 2nd most goals in the NHL, having generated the 9th most expected goals and the 14th most high-danger shots in the league. The Panthers have scored the 6th most goals in the NHL, having generated the most expected goals and the most high-danger shots in the league. Hammer the over. Dallas Stars vs Minnesota Wild. The Minnesota Wild have been up in the face of the Stars through 5 games, bringing a physical game that has allowed them success in 2 games, but unfortunately, they find themselves on the verge of elimination after their worst game in some time in Game 5. In their past 8 conference quarterfinal games, the Wild have come away with a 2-6 record, as well as being just 2-7 in their past 9 games played against teams with a winning record, but with their backs to the wall, no one should count out the Wild. These 2 division rivals have been very strong in recent years, and it is reflected in a very hard-fought head-to-head rivalry that hasn't seen either team yet pick up an advantage, and after a 3-2 series thus far, this is anyone's ballgame. However, the Stars find themselves in a fantastic position here, as their offense has been solid throughout the series, and if they can get any type of performance from Jake Ettinger, this is their time to put Minnesota away and move on to the 2nd round. Our team pick is Dallas money line. Despite the talented goaltending on both sides in this series, including a stellar shutout from the Stars in Game 5, it's the offensive units that have decided every other game in the series, so expect plenty of goals once again in Game 6. For the Stars, the over sits at 5-1 in their past 6 games on the road, and for the Wild, the over sits at 6-1 in their past 7 games, after scoring 2 or less goals in their past game, and with the season on the line, expect a big offensive push. Keep it simple, take the over. Colorado Avalanche vs Seattle Kraken. The offense was good for Colorado this season. They ranked 11th in goals per game and 8th in shots per game. Nathan MacKinnon led the team with 111 points. Mikko Rantanen led the team with 55 goals, and he had 105 points. He ranked 3rd in goals in the league. Colorado's offense has not been as good as usual in this series. They scored 1 goal in Game 1, 3 goals in Game 2, and 2 goals in Games 4 and 5. The only game the offense had a big game was Game 3, in which they scored 6 goals. The offense was very efficient for the Kraken this season. Seattle ranked 4th in goals per game and 20th in shots per game. Jared McCann led the Kraken with 40 goals and 70 points. Jordan Eberle had 63 points. Matty Beniers had 57 points. Andrei Burakovsky was placed on injured reserve due to a lower body injury. He has not played in a game yet in this series. Seattle scored 3 goals in Games 1, 4, and 5, 2 goals in Game 2, and 4 goals in Game 4. The defending Stanley Cup champions Colorado Avalanche will be facing elimination in Game 6 after losing Game 5 at home. The offense has been a huge letdown in this series for Colorado. They scored 2 goals or less in 3 out of 5 games in this series and have scored more than 3 goals just once in this series. With their backs against the wall, the Avalanche will wake up in Game 6 and put in their best effort defensively. Colorado is too talented on offense to continue to struggle. The Avalanche will avoid elimination in Game 6 and push the series to 7 games. Colorado will win Game 6. Take Colorado on the money line. This has been a low-scoring series with the under hitting in 4 out of the 5 games.